Hey guys, now keep in mind as you watch, this is my theory responding to somebody else's theory. I fully respect the person who created this theory, and I mean no malice towards this response. This is only based off my personal observations and what I feel this theory could also be.
Now keep in mind, most of these names that I'm going to be pronouncing are Hawaiian, and they're very hard to pronounce, so I'm probably going to say them wrong. If you know how to say them, please tell me down in the comments below, because I am trying my hardest. So I know a few months back, Loxton published a video talking about how the starters were connected to alchemy, and several others have now posted about it. Now don't get me wrong, they have very valid points, but I don't fully agree with the theory they propose. The Pokemon Company has always given us something to link the starters, not only to the region they're from, but where the region is based on in real life. Take Kalos for example. Chestnut, Delphox, and Greninja do represent a knight, a wizard, and a rogue, all of these found in RPG games, but it's also found in a very popular celebration held in France called Carnival, which is what American Mardi Gras is based off of. Now, how do I know this? Well, my degree is social science interdisciplinarian. It's a fancy way of saying I took a lot of classes in psychology, sociology, and history, and anthropology, and I fell in love with social anthropology. Now, when I start playing games, I start to see the cultural references in them, and I now understand where they come from and why they are there, especially in games like Pokemon. Over the last few months, I've watched the theories on alchemy and I see very good points, but I don't agree with them all. Yes, Litten does have the alchemic symbol for sulfur on its face, but there could be another reason for it, dealing with something that actually exists in Hawaii. And I haven't seen anybody other than myself advocate for this, and I'm not doing this as a shameless self-promotion, but I seriously think that this is a valid possibility. And it's not just the stars I want to talk about. I truly feel the Pokemon Company along with Game Freak have made some very big references to Hawaiian culture and mythology in the Pokemon they have released. Now I'm going to start off with the starters just to get them out of the way. So let's start off with Litten and Torracat. They're both the fire starters, Litten being the pre-evolution of Torracat. Now yes, Litten does have the alchemic symbol for sulfur, but what else has sulfur in it? That's right, volcanoes. And who is the most important goddess in Hawaiian mythology? Pele, the goddess of the volcano. Now, in the myth of Pele, she lives at the summit of Mount Kilauea, and if you steal her rocks, then she will curse you. So, lesson from that, don't take lava rocks from Hawaii. But that's not what I wanted to focus on. I want to focus on the myth of her cat. Pele is supposed to have a fire cat that she's seen with. According to the myth, it starts off as a little kitten, and the cat is there to protect its home from dark evil magic known as Kahan, which is a form of black magic. Now, I know I talked about this in my Pele mythology video, but this cat has the ability to change its size, growing larger and being able to spit fire as well as lava. And I think this is really what Litten and Torracat are actually a nod to. Moving on to Rowlet, there's actually one huge possibility here. This being the fact that the goddess named Haki Kaoi Poi Opele, aka Haki, who is Pele's little sister's sacred animal, is the owl. Now, it's known as poi, which is a major part of Hawaiian culture and is used in different ways to describe people and places. One of the most important legends dealing with the sacred owl is the Battle of the Owl, which I'm not going to go into because it's rather a long legend, but you guys can look it up if you want to read it. But let's get back to how this owl relates to Rowlet and Dextric. And it can be linked back to the fact that she is described using a grass owl as her messenger. And this owl used to hide itself using leaves to camouflage itself from predator. Now, I think that would be a really cool connection to the mythology because it's not very well known. Finally, we're going to deal with the starter, Popplio, and its evolution, Brionne. Now, the reason why this one's going to be a little bit harder to link in is just because the Hawaiian gods or goddesses don't have a sacred animal that is a seal, but there is another way. You see, the king of the sharks, the older brother of Pele, Kahomoi, he is a very important part of Hawaiian mythology. Well, what do sharks hunt? Of course, it's going to be seals. So the Hawaiian people would see this as a source of food for Kahahoim, and this would make the seal an important animal. And the reason why he's so important is because he not only brought Pele to Hawaii, but he also brought the early Polynesians as well. Now, getting to a video that I totally disagree with, and I have no malice, and I mean no disrespect towards Loxton on this, but his video, Forbidden Alchemy in the new Pokemon trailer, where he talks about Type Null being a chimera, I understand why he said what he said. Because if you look up the definition of chimera, the first thing that's going to pop is something about alchemy. But the problem is chimeras do not exist in alchemy. Yes, there are things such as hybrids and homunculus, but never a chimera. You see, the idea of a chimera in alchemy came about in 1999 with the publication of the manga Fullmetal Alchemist. Besides Fullmetal Alchemist, there's never been a reference to a chimera in alchemy. You can go back to the early times of alchemy back in Egypt, and you will not see anything referring to a chimera. Now, this has become a very popular cultural reference saying that alchemy has chimeras when it actually does not. Now, as I stated in many of my videos before this, I do believe Type Null and Savali are based off the Night Marchers just because of their physical features as well as their ability to shift and change like the Night Marchers. I also believe it'd be a really cool reference to the Night Marchers because I also think that they have something to do with Arceus, maybe a corrupted form of Arceus in a way. And before I get any angry comments down in the comment section about genetic chimeras, no, I don't think this has anything to do with genetic chimeras. Type Null and Savali probably are not their own twins. That's what a genetic chimera is, where in utero, one of the babies dies and the other one absorbs it into its body, becoming its own twin. Now, I also talked about Jangmo-o, Hawk-mo-o, and Ko-mo-o in my video, Night Marchers, Polynesian Warriors, and possible fossil Pokemon. Oh my. And the reason why I talked about them is because I felt like they were a huge allusion to Polynesian culture, and the whole evolutionary line looks like it could be modeled off Polynesian warriors. Jangmo-o could be representing the young child watching his father practice his fighting skills, Hawk-mo-o could be the child coming of age and entering his first battle, and Ko-mo-o is a battle-hardened father ready to defend his family. I already talked about how Ko-mo-o's tail looks like the Shark's Tooth Club, but I didn't talk as much about Hawk-mo-o because Hawk-mo-o does have something that looks like a Polynesian weapon. Once again, it's its tail, and it's known as a Maori club. Now, this whole line, I also have to say, looks like Polynesian warriors because of their coloration. A lot of the Polynesian warriors would wear yellows and reds and grays, which I think is so cool to see that in a Pokemon. Now, I want to get into the final topic, which is some of the Alolan forms and why I feel it ties into Hawaiian mythology. Now, the first 4 Alolan forms I want to talk about is our 4 new ice types. Because, well, as I stated in my video talking about the myth of Pele and her family had to fight 4 jealous ice goddesses. And Alola Sandshrew, Alola Sandslash, Alola Vulpix, Alola Ninetales probably are a nod towards this myth because why would these Pokemon turn into ice type? Game Freak doesn't do things like that just because they want to. They have to have a reason, and I think that's a really cool tie-in to Hawaiian mythology. Now, I also saw a huge reference to a very big cultural figure in Hawaii, which is Duke Kahanamoa Moko with the Alolan Raichu, because the Duke is a legendary surfer. He is the guy who brought surfing to the mainstream of Hawaii and also to the world, and he ended up just disappearing one day. And this is why I don't fully agree with the alchemy theory, because why would they have references to Hawaii using other Pokemon but not the starters and not Type Null? I believe all the Pokemon are referencing different parts of Hawaiian mythology. Now, I can totally understand why people came up with the alchemy theory, and it's just because of the misconstructed idea that chimeras exist in alchemy. And yes, Litten does have the alchemic symbol for sulfur, but it could mean something else. And I feel like if you didn't know Hawaiian mythology or Hawaiian culture, that you'd kind of miss these references. And I would love to see more people maybe look into this and see if they agree with me. Well, I want to know your guys' opinion. Leave your comment down in the section below. Give my video a like, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I love making videos like this, and I love hearing from you guys. Well, bye guys.